Two more races to go in the 2022 Formula One season, and the first of those comes up this weekend in São Paulo, Brazil, at the iconic Interlagos circuit. Yes, the final sprint weekend of 2022 takes place at the Brazilian Grand Prix this weekend, and while it's probably not going to be as dramatic as last year's penultimate race of the season, there's still plenty to keep an eye out on this weekend. I'm Ollie Wilson for GPFans, and this is everything we're looking out for this weekend at the Brazilian Grand Prix. There is no doubting the dominance displayed by Red Bull and Max Verstappen in the second half of this season. No driver other than Verstappen or Sergio Perez has taken a victory since the French Grand Prix, 2 races before the summer break. Such has been the strength of the Milton Keynes-based outfit. Interlagos should be a track suited to the RB18, with the high downforce middle sector partnered with the power-thirsty start and end to the lap, providing the Red Bull badged Honda engine with a chance to stretch its legs. You would be foolish to bet against Red Bull Racing at any race this season, but São Paulo may well perhaps be the strongest we will see from Verstappen and Perez. If the United States and Mexico City Grand Prix are to be a stepping stone for Mercedes, the team must first confirm its improvements with a strong showing in Brazil. Lewis Hamilton was Verstappen's closest challenger in both events, with the 7-time champion and George Russell all over the Dutchman in Mexico City qualifying. But with the team struggling for top-end speed compared to perhaps Red Bull and Ferrari this year, it's hard to see a repeat performance this weekend. Any positivity would prove that the steps that have been taken by the Brackley-based team in the second half of the season were no fluke whatsoever, and perhaps they can continue that into next season. Mercedes went forward, but Ferrari dropped back in Mexico as a dreadful weekend left the Scuderia a minute adrift of race winner Max Verstappen. Based on that performance alone, it is hard to believe that the Italian team was tipped for the title after the first 3 races of this season. Such has been the drop-off in their performance. But, hoping that the extreme altitude in Mexico prompted a one-off lackluster outing, Ferrari will need to improve for the upcoming weekend, with Charles Leclerc locked in a battle with Sergio Perez for second in the Drivers' World Championship. Momentum also needs to be gathered, of course, for next season as well, and the assault on Red Bull Racing's dominance in 2023. Yes, McLaren and Alpine are going head-to-head, and thankfully it's on track and not just fighting over a contract for Oscar Piastri. Just 7 points separate the two teams in the race for 4th in the Constructors' title after Fernando Alonso's Mexico City Grand Prix retirement. Alpine's reliability was once again called into question after Alonso pulled off in the closing stages of the race 2 weeks ago, spurning critical points in the tense championship fight. McLaren may have struggled to compete with Alpine for much of the season, but certain circuits have seen the Woking-based outfit outpace its rival. A positive weekend for Alpine should ensure 4th in the standings, barring any major dramas in Abu Dhabi. The pressure is all on McLaren, although dramas do seem to be surrounding Alpine, particularly when it comes to their reliability in this latter part of the season, or at least for Fernando Alonso's car. As we mentioned earlier, it's the final sprint race of the season as the format makes its last appearance in 2022. There will be, of course, an increased number of 6 sprint events next year in 2023, despite divided opinions on the format, not least from world champion Max Verstappen, who has been highly critical of the expansion. What it means for this weekend, however, is a shift for qualifying, of course, to Friday afternoon, allowing for the 100km sprint race on Saturday. This event proved to be exciting last season, with Lewis Hamilton coming from the back of the grid on Saturday to eventually win the Grand Prix on Sunday. Will we have similar drama this time around? Well, there's no World Championship on offer, which was perhaps spurring on Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes, but there's enough battles on the grid that perhaps somebody can do something special when it comes to the sprint race in São Paulo. For everything across the Brazilian Grand Prix weekend, get on to gpfans.com and GPFans Global on Twitter, Instagram, and of course TikTok as well.